Imagine everything is going perfectly. Someone likes you. They make time for you. They reply consistently. They remember little things about you. You feel comfortable around them. For once, you don't feel like you have to question anything. Then one evening, they send a shorter message than usual. That's it. Nothing dramatic, no argument, no betrayal. Just 3 words instead of 10. And suddenly, your brain starts working. Are they losing interest? Did I do something? Why did their tone change? Are they talking to someone else? One small change becomes 10 different explanations. And before you know it, you're no longer enjoying the relationship. You're analyzing it. This is where one of Scorpio's most complicated traits can appear. Not intuition, not emotional depth. Overthinking. Because sometimes Scorpio's greatest strength can become their greatest weakness. The ability to notice everything can make them notice things that aren't actually there. Twist number 1. Scorpio doesn't always need evidence to feel something. Imagine you're walking through a dark house at night. You hear a noise. You freeze. Your brain immediately creates a possibility. Someone is inside. But maybe it was the wind. Maybe it was a pipe. Maybe something fell. The feeling is real. The danger isn't necessarily real. That's the problem with overthinking. The emotion can be completely genuine, even when the conclusion is completely wrong. Scorpio can sometimes experience the same thing emotionally. A change in someone's behavior happens. Scorpio notices it immediately. And because they are highly observant, they don't simply notice the change. They start looking for the reason. That's where the mind can become dangerous. One possibility becomes another, then another, then another, until eventually, Scorpio isn't responding to reality anymore. They're responding to a story their mind created about reality. And those are 2 very different things. Twist number 2. Scorpio may test people without realizing it. Here's where things become even more complicated. Imagine Scorpio becomes worried that someone is losing interest. Instead of asking directly, they pull back. They stop initiating. They become colder. They wait. They're thinking, if this person really cares, they'll come after me. Sounds logical, but something dangerous is happening. The other person doesn't know it's a test. They simply see Scorpio becoming distant, so they pull back too. Now Scorpio thinks, I knew it, they don't care. But that's not what happened. Scorpio created distance. The other person responded to the distance, and Scorpio interpreted the response as proof. It's a psychological loop. Fear creates behavior. Behavior creates a reaction. The reaction appears to confirm the fear. And suddenly, a relationship that was perfectly fine starts falling apart. Not because anyone wanted it to, because nobody stopped to ask what was actually happening. That's the trap. The dangerous question. There's one question Scorpio can ask themselves when this happens. What do I actually know? Not what you suspect, not what you fear, not what you imagine. What do you actually know? They replied later than usual. That's a fact. They don't care anymore. That's an interpretation. They sounded tired. That's a fact. They're hiding something. That's an interpretation. They wanted a night alone. That's a fact. They're emotionally leaving me. That's an interpretation. Learning to separate facts from interpretations can completely change the way Scorpio experiences relationships. Because intuition is useful, but intuition isn't supposed to replace evidence. Twist number 3. Scorpio can confuse protection with control. Here's another uncomfortable truth. Sometimes Scorpio believes they're protecting themselves when they're actually trying to control uncertainty. They want to know exactly where they stand, exactly what someone is thinking, exactly what will happen next. But relationships don't work that way. You can never completely eliminate uncertainty. You can only decide whether you trust someone enough to live with some of it. Think about holding sand. The tighter you squeeze, the more of it slips through your fingers. Relationships can be the same. The more desperately you try to control every emotional variable, the more unnatural the relationship becomes. Love needs boundaries, but it also needs breathing room. And Scorpio sometimes has to learn that not every unanswered question requires an immediate answer. Some things simply need time. Big reveal. And here's the biggest revelation of the entire story. Sometimes Scorpio isn't actually afraid of being betrayed. They're afraid of being surprised by betrayal. There's a difference. The fear isn't simply, what if they leave? It's, what if they leave and I didn't see it coming? That's why Scorpio watches. That's why they analyze. That's why tiny behavioral changes can feel so important. They want to be prepared. They want to see the danger before it arrives. Because being emotionally blindsided can feel unbearable. But here's the paradox. Trying so hard to avoid being surprised can make you suspicious of people who have done nothing wrong. And eventually, you can destroy the safety you are trying to protect. That's the irony. The armor can become the weapon. The moment Scorpio needs to stop. So what happens when Scorpio notices themselves entering this cycle? Stop. Don't send the angry message. Don't suddenly disappear. Don't create a test. Don't punish someone for something they haven't done. Take a breath. Ask the simplest question possible. Is there something wrong, or am I afraid something is wrong? That question can save relationships. Because sometimes the answer really is, something is wrong. Then talk about it. And sometimes the answer is, I'm scared. Then the solution isn't confrontation, it's reassurance. That's emotional maturity. Not ignoring your intuition, not blindly trusting everyone, not pretending everything is fine. It's learning to distinguish between evidence and fear. Final lesson. Scorpio doesn't need to become less intense. That intensity can be beautiful. They don't need to stop noticing things. That awareness can be powerful. They don't need to care less. Their depth is part of who they are. But they do need to understand one thing. Not every change is a warning. Sometimes someone is tired. Sometimes they're busy. Sometimes they're having a bad day. Sometimes their short message has absolutely nothing to do with you. And if you turn every small change into a threat, eventually the person you're trying so hard not to lose may become exhausted from constantly proving they aren't leaving. That's when Scorpio has to make a choice. Do I trust what this person has consistently shown me? Or am I allowing one unusual moment to erase months of evidence? That's the difference between intuition and overthinking. And perhaps that's the most important lesson for Scorpio. You don't protect a relationship by constantly searching for the moment it will end. You protect it by creating enough honesty that when something really is wrong, you can talk about it. Because sometimes, the person you're afraid of losing is still standing right there. And the only thing pushing them away is the fear that they might leave. So before you question someone you love, before you withdraw, before you test them, ask yourself one final question. Am I responding to what happened or to what I'm afraid might happen? That question might save something you thought you'd already lost. Because sometimes, the biggest threat to a good relationship isn't betrayal. It isn't distance. It isn't another person. Sometimes, it's the story we create in our own head. Be honest. Have you ever overthought something until you accidentally made it worse? Comment yes if you've ever done it. And if you're a Scorpio, leave a Scorpio below, because sometimes the mind trying hardest to protect your heart can become the very thing that breaks it.